Hello guests, and welcome back to Retro Bear, doing some gameplay on the Super Game Boy, and really talking today about my memories of Alleyway, which is currently on your screen now. So a little bit of a background with this sort of game, because most of you will probably look at this and think, well, this isn't very interesting, is it? But if you were brought up like I was on a game called Breakout on the Atari VCS, then it's all rather familiar. And I suppose beyond that, sort of mid-80s, if you were playing in the arcade or on the home computer systems, like the 8-bit micros and then the 16-bit micros, you're more probably attuned with a game called Arkanoid and its sequel, Arkanoid Revenge of Do. And also a well-known game called Batty, which was given away free. I think it was a Spectrum magazine, which is pretty much sort of a clone of Arkanoid, really. And all the idea of this game is simple bat and ball. You just got to clear the screen, and the ball comes off your bat. You move the controller around, try and get different angles, and it's very, very simple. You just clear the screen, then you move on to the next one. Now with Breakout, it was just literally a case of a series of coloured lines which you had to clear, and it was very sort of monotonous, and to be honest, not one of my favourite games on the 2600. Really didn't enjoy it at all. Definitely not something that I was interested in playing in the slightest. So sort of moving on from that, Arkanoid tried to be slightly different. It gave you a bit of a backstory, set it in space, and gave you some different sort of power-ups, like extending the width of your bat, I suppose, really the best way to describe your ship. Other things like giving you options to pick up weapons, so you could shoot all the bricks out, save time, or it would give you extra balls. There are 2 or 3 floating around at the same time. All very, very interesting stuff, and very, very popular. I suppose really Alleyway sort of fits into this a little bit, somewhere between the two. It's more, I suppose, loyal to Breakout than it is to Arkanoid, but you'll also notice as we go through this gameplay video, you'll see some little additions to the playing, I suppose, the level playing field. There will be a reduction in the bat size and things like that. You can see here we've now got a moving screen, so it's the same row of bricks, just keeps going from one side to the other, and it just adds to it. And what Nintendo did, you may have seen at the very, very start, the more astute of you would have seen it while I was waffling on, but you'll be able to see it now from looking at the bottom right hand corner, is that there's a little Mario icon there with the number of lives that you've got. And it's just simply a case of, very much like a lot of early Nintendo games, of shoehorning Mario into a game which had absolutely nothing to do with, and as a result of that, he has nothing to do with Alleyway other than the fact that you get the idea he's actually stuck inside the ship, which he's going through. So, yeah, I don't know. Now, as like I said, I wasn't a great fan of Breakout. I didn't, to be honest, you play an awful lot of Arkanoid. I can remember playing the 64 version, but I remember seeing it in the arcade. But I'd got very, very, very few play memories of it at all. And it was quite strange at the time, because you thought about it, you know, Arkanoid was basically trying to reinvent a game which was probably by that point, I don't know, up to nearly 7 to 10 years old, which would have got most people sort of reaching for the, well, they're re-updating this old, dusty classic. Back in those days when people tried to reinvent things like Pac-Man and what have you, or games of that ilk, it was all considered very, very old hat, and why would we want to redo this really old game that nobody can remember? But yeah, there we go. But Alleyway, I think is quite a good game. I have fond memories of playing it during the summer, probably, of 2009, on the Game Boy itself. Actually, would have been the Game Boy Advance, and I really like it. I mean, it's not too difficult. Once you get your head around the controls a little bit, it's never the easiest thing to move. When you play Breakout on the VCS, it was like a paddle controller. And I must admit, trying to play Arkanoid with the joystick really just didn't appeal to me in the slightest. But actually, this using a directional pad is not too bad at all, to be fair. I'm obviously playing this on the Super Game Boy, so I'm using the Super Nintendo pad. And you actually feel like you're in control of it. It's not too unresponsive, it's not overly sensitive. I've lost a few lives along the way, but so what, that's how it goes. And on the Super Game Boy, I think they've got the colours absolutely nailed on, really. Just enough colour to it to make it vibrant enough and make use of that screen there. And yeah, I mean, look, it's a very, very simple game at the end of the day. Is it going to be your cup of tea? I don't know. Depends if you like the old style games. If you do, then this is going to be right up your street. If you don't, then this probably isn't going to be for you. I don't think it's going to be a game that you'd necessarily miss out if you didn't play it. As you can see here, one of the big problems is finding the right angles to clear the last couple of bricks off the screen. That's always the most difficult and frustrating part about it. But it's great when you nail it. I think we've got a bonus level coming now. Here we go, it's a bonus level. So all you have to do here is just clear the screen of the Mario bricks, and not do that, which is just send the ball around exactly the same way as it came from before. Get a different angle on it, and that's what you've got to work out. It's a little bit of thought process goes into it, but I think it's a pretty good game. I think it is, and when it came out, I think it got fairly decent reviews, and it's very, very highly thought of as a very good Game Boy game to pick up. I mean, I've got no idea how much it's going to cost these days. I know I picked it up for very, very little. I've got the cart-only version. But it is a good game. It passes the time. You tend to find yourself going back for another crack at it and another go round and just see if you can better your score. You do get an extra life, I think, at 1,000 points. So I've got 801 here. I'm not sure how many stages there are altogether either. That's another one. Yeah, so this is Alleyway. Apologies for the sound level on the actual game itself. I do record this quite low because sometimes you're never quite sure what sort of music is going to get picked up by the joy that is the YouTube algorithm and penalises you for it. So I probably can't hear it. I mean, there are no in-game tunes. It is really just a little, the sound effects. There's not really an awful lot you're missing out on there, really. But like I said, I think it looks pretty good on the Super Game Boy. It looks very good. I played it on the Game Boy Advance all those years ago, and it seemed to suit that quite nicely as well. Have you played Alleyway? Let me know what you think. Would you play Alleyway? Is this the sort of game you want to go? We know, obviously, now we're talking about this is probably about as retro as it gets in terms of the origin of where this game would have come from, going back all those years to Breakout and then Super Breakout. Like most VCS games, it had a very, very well presented front cover art on the box, which was nothing like the game was inside. So you had to use your imagination, but that is definitely something worth considering as well. I think this is a very good title. Probably one of these that would maybe have come out with very, very, very little expectation, and would have probably surprised a few people when it did. You can just see there, I mentioned earlier about the power-ups, the size of the bat has actually dropped a little bit. So it makes things a bit more difficult. Anyway, I'm going to let this run until this is my final life when that runs out, and that's when the video will finish. If you have liked this, please do leave us a comment. Please do let us know what your memories are of this. I've got a couple more Game Boy gameplay videos to come, which I hope you'll enjoy, and they'll be going up in a few days' time, as always. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, and do let us know what you think of Alleyway. Until then, this is the Retro Bear saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye.